The town of Walkerton, 1850, a guy by the name of Joseph Walker, comes into the area and comes down to the river, which we're going to see in a couple of moments here. And when you get to the river, that's where Joe Walker said this would be an ideal place to put a dam in and to put in a grist mill, and he can start a business. So in 1850, Joe Walker was here with his son William, and they decided to do that. They put in a grist mill, they built a dam, and that continued on for many years. The town of Walkerton was formally adopted as a town, like legalized through governmental things in 1871. Over on that far side, you see one of the industries in Walkerton. We have a few. We don't have enough, but we have a few. That's Price Johnstrom. They make big cauldrons, and it's been there for a number of years, and it's a substantial business. Over on the right side, we're going to take just a little sidebar in. These are condominiums that you see right here, and these condominiums are built on the place that used to be called Spool and Bobbin. And the Spool and Bobbin, they made wooden things such as golf tees. However, the business was in jeopardy back in the 1980s, and they closed it down, had a big garage sale, or not a garage sale, well, almost. They had an auction sale, sold everything off, and then several years later, some developers came along and said, we think we should build some things called condominiums. And people in Walkerton said, you what? What miniums? And they said, well, we could put something in that would be along the side of the river, and it would be like apartments. Oh, like apartments. So they said there would probably nobody want to go into them. They built them, and they were sold out within days. People chose to go here. This is the backyard of the condominiums, and you can see that right there is the Saugeen River in the back. So these people have a great view. They have a great access to the water down there. They can go canoeing, they can go swimming, or they can just, as 99%, just walk around there or walk along there. The bridge that you see up here is one of the Joe Walker bridges. That's where he had to build. He had to build 2 bridges when he got possession of some of the land here. These places are rarely, if ever, empty. If the for sale sign goes up here, usually within a week, there's a sold with it. So it's highly respected and highly sought after. And I think that this is one of the ones that Diane Rys and I would be seeking if our opportunity came along as we get a little older and getting tired of cutting a little at home and doing our grass and all that. Anyways, you can see you're sort of right out in the countryside with the bush right up here and everything else, the forest, the trees. The farmyards aren't very far away from here. And as we say, we come out here and just gotta watch my, don't run into anybody, including myself. The fish that you see on the bridge are emblematic of the community because this is one of the best fishing rivers in the province of Ontario. Up there is a dam called the Truax Dam, and that's going to be torn down this summer. And it's going to be all redesigned and allow for easier access for fish. Here's one of the cathedrals of Walkerton. It's called Tim Hortons. You may have heard of it. This is the downtown core over here. We're going to skip to the left. I mentioned the gentleman's name by the name of Joe Walker, or Joseph Walker. This is the house that Joseph Walker built. It's called the Walker House, obviously. And you can see it right here. And there's small businesses in it right now. And you can see 1857 was when he did the building of that. And it's quite a nice building inside. I've been in there a number of times with different people that have businesses there. Over here is our garden center, one of the garden centers for the community. At this time of year, of course, very busy throughout the springtime and into the summer. The Royal Canadian Legion in Walkerton has been here. It's Legion 102. It's been here for a number of years. We're extremely proud of the work that goes on here. A number of the Legionnaires are involved in different aspects of the community. And one of the things, our Remembrance Day service is really quite excellent here in Walkerton, and we're always very proud of it. There's a new stable business right there, and too bad you fellas weren't around earlier because that Dairy Queen just opened within the last year. And if you were one of the first 100 customers in there, you got a free, what was it, cake for a year, ice cream cake for a year? Yeah. but people were sleeping out, waiting for the grand opening.
Wow.
Now, how many times have you heard of people sleeping out for the grand opening of a Dairy Queen? I mean, as they did. Let's see if I don't remember anybody putting this out here. Administrative building back in over here. There's all kinds of talk about what it would and wouldn't be. It's got several rentals in it right now. Back up here on the left-hand side is the Walkerton Fire Department, and our fire department room is volunteer. Okay, so in other words, everybody's sleeping and the fire alarm goes off, and the guys are jumping out of their beds and rushing out to their cars and trucks, and coming down here and getting on the wagons and the fire trucks and away they go. This is just a few years old. It's about 8 years old now. And it's a very modern one. We're very proud of our fire department. They do a good job. And at the back, I was going to show you. I'll go to the next street and do it. You can see the wide open spaces. This is a nice aspect as far as I'm concerned. I was born and raised in Guelph, and then I moved to Kitchener with my family. And so we were in bigger communities, obviously population-wise. And then we came to Walkerton, and people said, "What in the name of gracious sakes are you doing in a place like that?" And I said, "Well, we're going to be living there." And I came here as the principal of the school called Sacred Heart. It was a grade kindergarten and grade 13 school when we moved here. And somebody said, "How long are you staying?" And my wife Diane said, "Until the day after he retires, then we're moving back to Kitchener." Well, I retired 24 years ago and I haven't made the trip back yet. I've been back to Kitchener, but we didn't move anywhere. In the town of Walkerton, there are several things that occur. First of all, there's a good, warm feeling of people to people. We rarely have any major crime, okay? And that's not bragging, it's just the way it is, and that's what we want to keep on doing, have no major crime. Is this our turn? No. So, right. Yep. This was a use of a use of the land that is with the back. It's good soil. They brought in some additional soil, obviously, and people can rent these properties or rent this tract of land, a slot here for the summertime to grow their tomatoes and whatever. And it works out very well.
They look great.
Things are going well there too.
Yeah.
We could go and take a tomato, but the churches, you see in front of you that church steeple there, and that's Sacred Heart Church. That's one of the oldest ones in the community. There are 7 churches. Excuse me, there are 5 churches and 7 congregations. This particular church has been here for a couple of 100 years virtually. Not quite a couple of 100, but it's been here a fairly lengthy period of time. Goodly population of the community of Walkerton is Roman Catholic. Most of the other people belong to other Christian denominations. We have a very rare occurrence here in Walkerton. We're in the Guinness Book of World Records, and I think you're familiar with that title anyways if you don't read it, but the Guinness Book of World Records has this down. This is one of the only communities in the world where there is a jail. And if you were to look out to the left-hand side right here, this is the jail. And surrounding that jail are 4 churches, Sacred Heart, and then the St. Thomas Anglican, and you got the United, and you got the Baptist, so they're Lutheran, all surrounding that jail. And anyone that ever went to that jail never did anything wrong once they were released because they've been in a jail that was surrounded by churches. There's the lawn bowling right in through there. And that has become a more and more popular, Pardon?
The jail's over there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got the jail. It should be right over here. Thanks, Bill. Yeah. It's an empty building. It's for sale, June. This is the other church. I apologize. Okay, so the United Church is down here, and down over here is the Baptist Church and the Roman Catholic Church, and down there. So we'll go this way, which is a main street out of town, if you want to continue. Up on the left-hand side here are several very good-sized homes. A lot of them seem to be temporary dwellings. People come in and come out over short periods of time. But you can see some of them are quite large, including this one here that's got the sold sign on it. As we go along in this area here, we're mostly in residential, and we come up over on this side over here. The Lutheran community is right in here. You can see a Trinity Lutheran Church. A nice new sign up there in front. I have to take you to 1 minute offside here to Sacred Heart High School because that's why I'm here. So I always like to brag for a minute. Town is mostly residential. Okay, we have a couple of subdivisions in the community that have come up in the last 10 years. These buildings and homes have been here probably some of them for 30 to 50 to 70 years. We still stop for stop signs even though it's a small town. When a couple of years ago we brought in some refugee people from Syria, they lived on that street there. They eventually, after a year and a bit, they moved to Owen Sound, where there was a bigger population of Syrian people. There's Sacred Heart right there. When I was the principal there were 800 kids in the school, and that included junior kindergarten right through. Now it's, I think it's, what is it, Matt, about 700?
Yeah, 600 or 700.
Yeah, and there's no elementary there. These are the soccer pitches. One of our big sports here is rugby. It's highly regarded and highly respected, and girls and boys. There's a few nice homes down along here. Yeah. Have you walked the river, or you haven't had time?
No, not yet.
Okay, okay, you're gonna do that, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of the trails through here. Okay, you go down and you walk down to the river. You know what? Let's do that. It only takes a couple minutes.
And like we've been in contact with some of the historical societies as well to learn more about the.
And people come from all over the area to go fishing. And you can see the serenity of the river right now. If you had been here earlier this morning, you probably would have seen some waves. Okay, this is one of the places where they drop their boats in. Okay, and up and over here, and the what do you call it? The Truax Dam. Now we're not going to walk out up there. Not the. Yeah, we got time. Let's walk up a little bit anyway. It's quite nice. A lot of people, seniors, like to walk along here. Families walk along here. It probably doesn't get the use that it could get, but. Now, you can just see the top, see the dam site up there, the sign that's right there and everything. That's where we would walk, if we or not walk there, but we'd go up and we'd see that.
Yeah.
19 years ago, this community had a very serious and a terrible situation because the water became contaminated for the municipality. So people that were drinking the water here ended up getting very sick, and 7 people died because of the E. coli that was in the water. So it was a horrific time. People from everybody, I would say worldwide, you might have known about this because it got on the news, because the water, municipal water supply getting poisoned is something that picks up a lot of news coverage right away. Mm-hmm. Our people worked together to try to help each other. The water was brought in from everywhere. Big water companies filled their trucks and brought it up here. People sent water, people sent money. So it was interesting because we got into about the second week of this, and it was really very disconcerting and very disruptive. But I remember coming home and saying to my wife Diane, I think what we need is a holiday. And she said, what? She says, I said, well, we need a time out. She says, go ahead, keep talking, because you always got crazy ideas. I said, well, I think we should go and take Walkerton away on a holiday for a bit. And then there was a silence, and she said, where are you taking them? I said, well, I don't know yet, but I said, one of the ideas was, why don't we see if we can go to the Blue Jay game? Take everybody in Walkerton, put them on a bus and take them to the Blue Jay game. There's only 5,000 people. She said, good luck, Joe. So I phoned the Toronto Blue Jays and said, you know, I introduced myself and said I was from Walkerton. You've heard of Walkerton? Oh, yeah, hasn't everybody? And I said, I just wanted to know if you guys would cooperate with us. We'd like to bring the town on a holiday and bring them to a Blue Jay game. Guy says, that's a great idea. We'll help out in any way, Joe. I said, he said, how many people you got? I said, well, there's about 5,000 people in town. He says, okay, 5,000. I said, so we'd like approximately 5,000 tickets. Oh, yeah, we can handle that. He said, anything else? I said, yeah. I said, I'd like the tickets free. Oh, yeah, no problem, Joe. We'll give you the tickets free. So, anyways, the next thing we ended up with Go Transit, which you've heard of. We got in touch with the president there, and Mr. King was his name, and I can't remember his first name, but I talked to him because we were looking for some transportation in on Go Train, and I explained to him what I was thinking, and he said, what in the hell are you trying to do? I said, well, I just need to get a little bit of help as far as getting the people to the ball game. He said, well, we'll cooperate. I said, okay. I said, but he said, you don't have a GO train that goes to Walkerton. I said, no, we don't have any trains to go to Walkerton anymore. So anyways, we ended up with school buses. Were you there?
I don't remember. I was like 4 years old, so I don't really remember.
So we ended up getting about 50 school buses on the main street on that Sunday morning. We put about 50 people on each school bus. Some people drove on their own. And we took the whole town down to Georgetown, or I think it was Georgetown, where GO train comes through. Loaded everybody on the GO train and went right to Grand, what's the name of it?
Union Station.
Usually, that's what I'm trying to think. Union Station. And we went in, we all had our t-shirts on, proud to be from Walkerton and this kind of stuff. Had a great time. We lost the ball game, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a real break from for the people, like something different that happened. And I think that was, it was a good holiday idea. Students, guys and gals that were at university, particularly university like University of Waterloo or University of Toronto or that, they got tickets from us and they came, and it was really neat. We fed everybody. We needed some money because we bought everybody a bag lunch for $5. We bought the lunches right here in Walkerton so that the businesses would get a little business, eh? So if they had a couple hundred lunches at $5, they'd make $1,000 on that day, or bring in $1,000, I should say. And they were quite willing to help out and buy and build put the bag lunches together, and that was good. To pay for that, we needed money, so different towns and cities had sent money to Walkerton, and the Walkerton set up a special committee for the money. So when I was talking about getting payments for anything in regards to this, I went before the council, this committee, and explained that we were going to do this, and they said, well, that's great, Joe, how are you going to pay for it? And I said, well, you're going to pay. And, you know, like when you get the mayor and the councilman, you say, you're going to pay? What are you talking about? And I said, well, you've got this money that's come in. Yeah, but that's sort of for special need. I said, this is a special need, boys and girls. This is a special need. So anyways, they said, well, we'll discuss it and let you know. And it was about 7:30 at night, and I said, okay, I'll be at home and I'll expect your call by 9 o'clock. Pardon? I said, I expect your call by 9 o'clock just to let me know whether we're in or out. They called by 9 and said, yeah, we'll support. That's good. And they did. Okay, this is Sacred Heart High School, home of the Crusaders, as it says, and about 700 students here, and a good reputation. And that same year that the water crisis was on, the senior girls rugby team won the All-Ontario. Wow. Yeah, so it just fitted in beautifully, blended. Yeah. Okay, up the street. We go up this way. This is where the refugee family was, right in the yellow house there. And they're doing quite well, apparently, in Owen Sound. Things are going well for them. That's great. So this is one of the small rural hospitals, and you hear a lot of conversations about small rural hospitals in the province of Ontario, particularly in the last 15, 20 years, as the number of doctors has dropped. All of a sudden these hospitals get into trouble because they don't have sufficient doctors. We've fought back reasonably well. We're pretty stable right now. We could probably still use 1 or 2 doctors, but at least we're in the ballgame. We can go down here because we got a 30-minute time limit. We don't have to pay for 30 minutes. This is a really neat hospital because we have babies here. And we are a baby-setting record place hospital. And do you know, Paul, how many 200-300 babies a year?
I think it's more than that. I think it's
is it?
Upwards of 40, but I would ask my parents too.
Yeah, well, you guys can share that information, then you can call me.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the hospital site. Over here is the administration building for the county of Bruce. Right there, you can see the rock right in the middle. That's what you see up near Tobermory, the Kettle Rock.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, and that's just replicated there, just to give you the idea that you're still in Bruce County. This building has been added to and taken away from and added to and everything else. And you can see that it's a mumble jumble. It's not like the super new ones that you see in the city or even in some small towns, but it works efficiently and effectively. If you look out straight ahead, what you see is Bruce Lee Haven. Bruce Lee Haven is a seniors residence. This is for people that need assisted help as far as living is concerned. Some of the beds in here are fairly permanent, like as far as the people being only bed. Others are getting around pretty well, but both of them very well managed, etc. There's lots of talk about things, this isn't really perfect here, this isn't perfect. Nothing's perfect. I mean, you do a good job and the people seem to be doing okay. One of the big things that we've got coming up in Walkerton, and you may have been around long enough to hear about this or that, is we do not, and we are currently working to solve the problem, we do not have a hospice in town. And we've been approved to have the construction of a hospice. We've been approved to have the hospice built here. So the community is now digging in and starting to raise money. We'll probably need a few $1 million from our end as far as monies are concerned. And that's fine. We'll get help from the provincial government as far as the personnel working in them is concerned. But the building itself and the maintenance of the building belongs to the local level. This is the primary park in the summertime for kids, particularly for the swimming pool that's down here, which is the municipal swimming pool. Tennis courts are up here on the left. And this is a toboggan hill in the winter too, by the way. Now, if you want to get out and run through the splash pads, they're right there. These just went in a couple of years ago, and you can see a few kids there now, but some days there's just all kinds of them. They just love it, and which they should, they do. This is our swimming pool right in behind there. Okay, it's well maintained and it's well looked after as far as lifeguards and that are concerned. We are like a number of small communities in the province and across the country. All of a sudden, the big guys in Toronto or New York or wherever say we're closing the plant. But we had the same experience here. Right at the end of the street, you see the Energizer plant. And they used to have a big packaging operation for batteries, Energizer batteries, and there were quite a number of people employed there. And then a few years ago, all of a sudden they said we're closing the plant. And the people were left obviously without work. And the plant has been shut up and is for sale or rent. And you can see the size of it. If you're going to have an operation come in here, you better have a big operation, because this is it right in front of you. You see the tops of the buildings there a little bit. And I forget how many thousands of square feet there are. This is a St. Teresa school, and then it became St. Teresa of Calcutta, and the elementary school. And that was part of what, when I came here, it was all one school together. And over here is the Walkerton Community School. And they used to have the Walkerton District Secondary School and Brant Central School and Walkerton Elementary School. And they brought those three schools together and they put them all in here. So what Sacred Heart was in the 1980s, this became in the 2000s. A full school all in one building. And people say, oh, that's not a good idea, little kids or big kids. You never have a problem. Those are your neighbors next door to you, and the kid down the street, and so there's no issue. But they've got a nice facility here. And this is an interesting one for younger families. This is a daycare attached to the elementary school. And there is apparently over 100 kids in this daycare. And it's open, I think it's 6:30 in the morning, and it's open until about 6:30 at night. So it's quite an operation. So the daycare is in this section down here, and the elementary school is up here on the left-hand side. Go ahead, young lady, because you're going to go anyways. This is I mentioned about subdivisions and houses in the community. This is by and large single-family dwellings that are condominiums or rentals, most of them, down in through here. And these are the same things I told you about in the other condominium over there. As soon as they're built and put on the market, they're sold out. We don't know where all the people are coming from, maybe from Toronto, but that doesn't seem to be hurting their population either. People like to get away from the idea of having to, shovel snow and mow lawn and this kind of stuff. So these kind of facilities that are by and large cared for, that go over very well. So they're called the Riverhawks, the Water District Community School, the Riverhawks. Called Maple Court, and it's a seniors residence. The people in here are all, although they're elderly, most of them are elderly, meaning say over 60 and 65, over 65, they are able to look after themselves. They may need some assistance. They do not cook or that. They get meals here, and they get entertainment here, they get sociability here. And they look at you when you're coming in and wonder what you're doing. So I greet them with a hello ladies, have a nice day. Good day ladies, how are you today? Nice and warm. One day you didn't want to talk to me. This is another new subdivision that's just been in. You might not even know about this one, right? This is where the Brant Central School used to be. This is the Mormons Church, Mormon of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They have their building there. Yeah, this is brand new. So you can see it's very well maintained, very nice. The Governor General of Canada came for the opening of this. And if you like, and I will, I'll stop and I'll let you go up and read the plaque that's there. And I'll stop right here. By the way, straight ahead of us is the administrative offices of Goose County. Let's go and look at this. June 16, 2018, 18 years ago. Wow. This is Victoria Jubilee Hall, which was set to be torn down a number of years ago, and a group of people who were very avid believers in having, things like this saved, went to work and saved it. They collected thousands upon thousands of dollars. I'm not sure.
So Joe, you mentioned that like when you originally came to Walkerton, you thought as soon as you retired, you were going. What do you think is the thing that's kept you here all these years?
People. I feel comfortable walking anywhere in the community. I feel comfortable seeing small kids walking, like going from house to house or going from place to place, and the parents not being concerned. I feel, we got anything coming there?
Nope.
Thanks. I feel comfortable knowing that it's a safe community and it's a caring community. So that's one of the big things about it. This is one of the bridges that was built originally by Joe Walker's team. Not the one, the actual one, but something like this, okay? This is Lobby's Park over here. This is Lobby's Park. Lobby was a guy in town. He was an entrepreneurial guy. He started businesses, he did things, he helped to get entertainment coming to the community. He died a number of years ago. He was an older gentleman. But in the summertime, like now, it's not busy today, but you see some of the campers over here. If it was like the holiday weekend in July or the holiday weekend in August, this whole place would be loaded with campers. People could just spend their whole weekend here. When you live right in a town, you oftentimes, as in any community, you don't take full advantage of all the stuff that's there as far as entertainment is concerned or recreation. Like it's just 5 o'clock or not quite. So you see the trailers starting to come in. So these are people, a lot of them have worked till 4 somewhere. And now they've taken the afternoon off because they live in Kitchener-Waterloo or Guelph or Toronto. I'll show you our arenas and our park areas that are used extensively at this time of year. And also, of course, the arena in the wintertime. Hockey. We are a junior C hockey community, the Walkerton Hawks. And it's not the NHL, but you know what? Sometimes I'd rather watch it than the NHL. I'm still praying for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I don't think the prayers are being answered that well. This is a curling rink in here. Okay, that's used extensively. People love curling still. Agricultural building. We have a big fall fair here. Walkerton Hawks go low. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 diamonds back here, Mac. How many?
I think there's
4 or 3 anyways.
3.
1, 2, 3. And a lot of times all the diamonds are loaded. It's called Larson and Shaw. They're celebrating their 100th birthday this year. They've had their celebration ceremonies. And they make hinges.
Yeah.
But they sell hinges for around the world. Like hinges for coffins, hinges for trucks, hinges for everything. So there's a couple of hundred people work there. I mentioned to you early on the Price Schonstrom with the what do you call it, the big vats and that kind of stuff, the steel vats. I think there's something like 80 people working in there. Tradesmen, lots and lots of tradesmen. I'm going to just show you Larson and Shaw. This is Larson and Shaw, who celebrated their 100th birthday this month. This plant used to be right downtown where the post is. I said this is the post office.
Yeah.
This is where they used to be in there. A little further up the road, you'd end up in Lake Huron. So we're within 45 minutes of being on the beaches of Lake Huron. There's very few people in Walkerton that can have work or don't have work or never find work. If you want work here, you can get work. It may not be like $1 million a day, but they'll get work. This is Brant Drive-In. They're famous ice cream cones.
Yeah.
If you're ever going to have an ice cream cone before you die, have it there. The government of the province of Ontario decided, and the federal government was involved too, to investigate further what happened here and why did it happen and how we can stop it from ever happening again. So the Walkerton Clean Water Center was set up, and this is busy all the time. Like if you were to come here at 8 o'clock tomorrow, well not tomorrow morning, but Monday morning, there'd be the parking lot would be almost, not totally full, but it'd be pretty well full of people coming into different programs or working in here. So it's a big employer and it's a big asset to the community. A lot of the people that come in here and take part in courses and all that, obviously stay at Best Western, most of them, and they eat down here at the new restaurant called 519. What is it, 519?
Yeah.
519. And Old Durham Road is the origin of this tour that you guys have been on with me. I hope I haven't mumbled too much.
This is amazing.
Daryl Johnson has got his own woodworking plant or his operation right here on the left. And, he does good work. He's a good team. Not a lot of guys, probably about 4 to 6 guys that work in there. A couple ladies, if I'm not mistaken. Not doing a lot of the carpet. Daryl's closed down for the day too. And as we come down the hill, this is where the MacArthur family reside down here. If you want to come back to Walkerton, I'm sure we'd be glad to have you. And I realize that everybody makes their own choices. So. Anyways, I got you home.